This video is brought to you by MoviePalette.com. Hey everyone, do you have a favorite movie that you would love to hang on your wall but you can't think of what scene or what poster to get? Well, now you can get the entire movie on one high quality canvas. With MoviePalette.com, you can get every scene from your favorite movie, or more specifically, the dominant color of every scene from your favorite movie in chronological order on a great high quality canvas. It also comes with a silver engraving of the title down at the bottom. It has rubber stoppers on the back to keep it from bouncing. And they have a huge catalog of what to choose from. Whether you're a horror fan or a fan of sci-fi, Marvel, Japanese anime, Disney animation, drama, or Oscar classics, there's a movie palette for you. Right now, MoviePalette.com is having a sale for 50% off for their Halloween sale. But if you go right now and if you enter room 15, you'll get 15% off of the movie palette of your choice. That's ROOM15 for 15% off of your movie palette. Again, this is a great value for a great piece of home decor that looks great for any film and for any film buff and anywhere in your home. You will definitely like this product. Mine is of The Shining, and I could not be happier with it. So definitely go to MoviePalette.com and enter ROOM15 for 15% off of your palette. Hey horror fans, welcome back to 1237, back with another review. So I continue my month of October run through of the Stephen King films. This is another one that I don't own. I have seen it before. I saw it when it premiered, I think on Hulu or Amazon back in 2014 when it first came out. But it's one that I found for free on YouTube, so I figured I'd check it out there. And it's one that I was really excited to see when I first saw the trailer back in 2014. Saw it when it first came out, and I found it to be very underwhelming then. So I was curious as to how I feel about it this time. And right off the bat, not much has changed in my opinion. I feel like it could have been a lot more. It's definitely a well-made film, a well-shot film, well-acted. The whole cast does a really good job. But I feel like the potential for what it could have been, it doesn't reach at all. I find it very underwhelming, very anticlimactic in certain aspects. And when you look at King's inspiration for the film, which is really what got me interested, I feel like this movie could have been a lot more. And it's one that he also wrote the screenplay for, and it's the film A Good Marriage, which is from his short story collection book, Full Dark, No Stars, which I also don't own. And yes, the story, pretty much in a nutshell, is you have this seemingly perfect marriage to the outside world. Bob and Darcy, they've been married for 25 plus years. Everything seems perfect. I mean, they still act just as happy as newlyweds. They still have that spark, even in the bedroom. They seem great to neighbors, friends, everyone. But she finds out that her husband, that she thought she knew, is a notorious serial killer. Now, this should have worked because some of my favorite King stories are the ones that are not supernatural. More grounded stories are the ones that I like the most. Also, this has a very Hitchcockian feel to it, kind of like Shadow of a Doubt, which if it went more of that route, I think that would have helped the film. But also, where King got the idea was he was watching some documentaries and interviews surrounding the BTK killer of Dennis Rader, who killed 10 people between 1974 and 1991, caught in 2005, and
I've studied serial killers for more than half my life. It's probably my biggest passion, and Raider has always been in my top three, like favorite ones to read about, most fascinating. Whenever something new comes out on a serial killer, I always check it out. Yes, I did see the Evan Peters Dahmer film. Or series. I will be reviewing that, so save all the comments for that review. I know that one tiny mention will lead to a comment and not even about this film. So I've always found Raider to be one of the most fascinating, and he's kind of like Ed Gein in that he's sort of become a model for characters. He's had several characters modeled after him to various degrees of quality. I mean, there's this. There's probably the best and most well done would have to be the IFC film, The Clove Hitch Killer, which is almost like a Raider biopic. I mean, it's so close to BTK anyway, but it's a very good movie. Though I'm biased, I think the best fictional representation of BTK would be John Lithgow as the Trinity Killer in Dexter. Because this is the whole thing of the married man, the family man, the pillar of the community, church deacon, scoutmaster, uh, neighborhood watch, everything. But he's this notorious killer, and the trophies are similar that this Bob character collects. Even the name Beady, it's not letters Bead, it's spelled Beadie, I think it is. Sending notes to the police and the press. There's a lot of Raider in this, and that's really what attracted me to this film first and foremost. Yeah, he's always been like my second or third like favorite serial killer to read about. And I'm not saying we should have seen this Bob character go out and do murders or anything like that, because it is more about the family dynamic. What happens to the family dynamic when that revelation occurs. So I'm not saying we should have had some kill scenes. It actually works better without it because we do have to go through the film from the wife Darcy's perspective. But I feel like everything is just so underwhelming or happens too fast or just kind of like there's no at least I felt there was like no build up. But it's still a very well shot film and it is well acted. I just feel like the potential was kind of squandered because this could have been a very good Hitchcockian type thriller. It really could have delved into that psychological aspect, that psychological thriller aspect. So it was directed by Peter Askin, based on the King story. King also wrote the screenplay. Stars Joan Allen, who was also in Manhunter, technically the first Hannibal Lecter story. She was also in the Nixon film in the 90s, Face Off, the Bourne films. Been in a lot of stuff. Joan Allen plays Darcy. Anthony LaPaglia, who was in films like Innocent Blood. He was supposed to play Tony Soprano. He plays Bob, our killer and husband. Supporting cast, you got Kristen Connolly, who was in House of Cards and Cabin in the Woods, plays their daughter, one of their two kids. And you get this very minor role by Stephen Lang, who, great character actor. People nowadays might know him as the blind antagonist or protagonist in the sequel Don't Breathe films. He's just kind of like this background voyeur, at least up until the end of the film. But he does make the best of his screen time. Frank G. DeMarco did the cinematography, and Danny Bensi and Sonder Jurions, if I pronounce that correctly, composed the score. Now, I really don't have a whole lot to say about it. Apparently, there was some controversy. Rader's daughter, Carrie Rawson, who I believe she's the one that wrote the book, like A Daughter Story, about her life as a serial killer's daughter, both when she didn't know and then the aftermath of finding everything out in the trial. And saying that King was exploiting her father's victims by taking inspiration. I mean, no. I mean, if she feels that way, I can't take that away from her. But it's not like he's making a BTK movie. And really, the only thing he's taken from BTK is the fact that, I mean, okay, some of his MO is there. Sending taunting letters to the police and press. The same kinds of trophies. I do believe BTK kept the driver's license of his victims and earrings. But mainly the fact that he was in this very strong marriage and was this, the poster child for what a family man is. That's pretty much what he's taken from it. And I do feel like it happens too fast. I feel like it should have gone the Shadow of a Doubt route where, okay, maybe she's putting all these things together. Maybe like the first act, she's kind of putting things together and then fighting with herself internally about it. But no, she just finds out immediately. She's looking for something in the garage and finds his trophies. Which, okay, if you want to go that route, which, okay, if you want to deliver that kind of a gut punch to your character, I feel like the movie just could have had more. That's really my main complaint. Because everything else is done very well. It's a very sleek, very good-looking movie. I do like how when she first finds out that she goes back in the house, the camera's kind of tilted and off, I guess to just kind of show the disorientation, like kind of world spinning of just finding that out. But then it's like because I guess how he gets away with it, or at least for her, is there are these coin collectors. And he goes on these trips because he wants to go visit other collectors, see what they have. They have a website for their coin collection. And so that's how he gets out of the house and is able to go off and do these things. Which we do see him kind of in the stalking phase, as a raider would call it, where he's at a diner, sees a woman, kind of follows her. And it doesn't, unless I missed it, it doesn't imply if he did anything to her, like if he followed through. But then Darcy goes to bed and he's already sitting in the bedroom saying, like, we need to talk. Because he knows that she found his trophies and kind of does this. I like the idea of having to charm his wife into not calling the cops and to give him another chance. You can tell she's on edge, obviously living in a house with this killer. But I feel like it just doesn't delve into the psychological aspect of it. The only real terror it shows are like these dreams that she has, or these kind of visions that she has, like a vision of the news saying that, he was Beatty the whole time and his wife knew and didn't say anything, and or this dream where they're in bed together and he just starts strangling her. It it didn't really show any kind of terror like going on. Like I feel like it didn't really delve into anything. And then throughout like the next act is just kind of her either acting normal or trying to think of ways to get rid of him. Like when he's laying under the SUV to fix it, she notices the jack, looks around, there's no one there. I'm thinking about kicking it out. I I feel like it could have been just like I don't even know what it could have been. I just feel like the idea is there, the concept is there. Uh, I feel like it either could have been a movie where she's struggling with herself, either trying to convince herself or convince herself it's not true. And then maybe further along in the film after that is when she finds proof. And then she has to deal with it. And maybe he does not know. Like he doesn't realize. I feel like that would have been better if he didn't know immediately that she found out. That way he can go about his life normally and she can just kind of watch. But I know the movie is, it's more about, you know, what happens to the family if you find that out. Then when you kind of get to the ending, well, I'll say spoilers now. Um, don't go into it thinking that it's going to be as much of a BTK film as Clove Hitch Killer or even as much as, say, Trinity. But it is well acted. It is a good looking movie. It is well shot, well made. But I just feel like story wise, it just doesn't live. For me personally, it doesn't live up to that potential. It doesn't live up to that. Well, the, the only things that are Hitchcockian level is Hitchcock, but I feel like it could have been like a big Hitchcockian thriller, and I feel like it just did not live up to it. But this is one of those rare non supernatural King films. It is an intriguing story. I just feel like it could have been more. So spoilers now. um, it does kind of ignore the anything about victims and the victims' families because you know she gives Bob a second chance, saying, "Okay, you have to quit. You can never do it again. We can't let the kids find out, and I never want to have this conversation again. And you got to get rid of those trophies. Uh, the driver's licenses. Wow." Which he keeps in a box that his daughter made him in school. Um, and the angelfish earrings that she wears belonged to a victim, and that was her 25th anniversary present. Um, so she gives him another chance, but then they both kind of start acting sketchy about the other person and trust wise, which okay, that's fine, but I don't. Again, I feel like it didn't explore that to its fullest potential. He he finds this 1955 penny with that's like dual layered with the print or whatever. Which earlier in the film they're laying in bed. She said she found one. That's been like his Moby Dick for his collection. Is this 1955 penny? She said she found one. Can I buy it for you for our anniversary? He says no. Big thing is I have to find it in my loose change by fate. And that's in the very beginning, but now he finds it. So to celebrate, he wants to get champagne. She says, no, no, no. We'll go out. You drink champagne. I'll drive. He's down for that. They get home. He's drunk. He's upstairs. She pushes him over the railing. And it never says it, but I feel like that penny was foreshadowing, and she did buy it and was waiting for it to come in, sort of use that, so they have a reason to celebrate, to get him drunk. Also, to buy time is that she wanted, you know, the family to be normal because their daughter's getting married. She wanted him to be able to see her get married and kids be fine. So, daughter gets married, gets the penny, they celebrate. He's drunk. She pushes him over the railing. Doesn't work. So finally she suffocates him. And I do like this sort of psycho-esque cleanup. You know, like she pulled on his tie but stuffed a hand towel in a plastic bag in his mouth. But and she shows her like cleaning the blood off of it. He bit the bag, so she has to take the plastic out, and then like washing the bag, then putting meat in it, putting it in the freezer, hanging the towel so it all blends back in, calling it in. It was ruled an accident. But then Stephen Lang shows up. Oh, and she does toss the earrings into the grave. But then Stephen Lang shows up, and throughout the film, he's just been in the background, just kind of watching. And he says that he's a detective that's been chasing BD, or I keep saying it like it's initials, but he's been after BD, which he thought it stood for Bob and Darcy, but it BD actually means Brian. I can't remember the last name, but it begins with a D, which Bob tells the story. It was like a kid he was friends with that had all these ideas, and they had this idea to get these couple girls when they were young, sexually assault them, and then he died in a car accident. So he's kind of taken his initials, made the word BD, and that's kind of become his killer persona. At least that's how he describes it. But, so he reveals that he's been chasing BD. He knows it's Bob. And she kind of says, I don't want my family ruined. I don't want my kids to lose sight of who their father is, or ruin their father's image that they have of him. So he leaves, but he's sick, old, or whatever, has an episode, he's in the hospital. She goes to kill him, but they have like a heart-to-heart about stuff. He reveals he let a guy die that he was chasing. He was chasing, got in an accident. He just let him die, then he called it in. So they both have secrets. And then he just agrees, saying, she says, do whatever you gotta do. And then she goes to leave. He says, all I gotta do is pay my taxes. Meaning, I'm not gonna give the story. I'm not gonna reveal to the world that your husband was this notorious killer. Because they're making it sound like the family of the killer would be these tragic victims, and not showing the side that the victims' families will never get closure. So that's kind of, I don't know. I get it. Families of serial killers do suffer as well. They are victims in their own way. But who really deserves it more? Is it the unknowing family of the killer, or the families of the victims who need closure and don't even know if their killer is alive, dead, caught for something else, and in the eyes of the world, they got away with killing their family member. So it really just kind of paints it as the killer's family being like the worst of the victims. There is kind of a cute parallel because, his trophies were in this box that he kept hidden. She has all these little boxes hidden around the house with a bunch of candies and treats that all have a note that would be like, do you really need this? Honey, I love you. I want you around more. You really don't need this sugar. And it just ends with her going to another secret box with Tootsie Rolls, throws the note away, and enjoys one. Kind of paralleling the joy that she gets from her treats and the joy he gets from reliving his crimes with his trophies in these hidden boxes. But yeah, overall, I feel like this really did have the potential to be, a really well done Hitchcockian thriller, done in the vein of a BTK inspired, story. where the wife discovers that her husband's this notorious killer that's been around for 20 years or so. But I feel like it would have pulled us in more. It would have been more engaging if, again, she did have that internal struggle and then found out, for sure, and then he didn't know, so she just kind of had to watch him and then time everything. Or if she did just find out out of nowhere, which that can work too, but then still have him not know, or really delve into maybe he suspects that she knows. Because it does hint that every time he comes home from a trip, he checks his box, makes sure everything is as is, checks her search history. But really delve into them being sketchy about each other, suspecting them of their own worst nightmare. But it really doesn't. It just kind of, things just kind of happen and are easily resolved, and then it goes on to the next thing. So I feel it's rather anticlimactic and, yeah, not living up to its fullest potential. It's not a bad movie by any means. It's not bad. I just found it underwhelming, ultimately. But that's Stephen King's A Good Marriage. As I said, I know I mentioned Dahmer, but all you need is one mention, and then that's the total focus of the comment. I would like the comments to be about A Good Marriage. Anything about the Dahmer series can be on the video that I make for the Dahmer series. Even then, just make it about the series itself, not Dahmer himself. But so yeah, a few more King films that I want to get to for the month of October. So stay tuned for those, and thank you for watching.